Breaking news is shaking the foundation of the gospel world. Josh Kagler, one of the most powerful voices from Ricky Dillard's legendary choir, has just been arrested. Fans are in disbelief, the church community is divided, and shockwaves are spreading fast. This isn't just a fall from grace, it's a scandal that threatens the very image of an entire gospel movement. For years, his voice brought worship to life, echoing through packed sanctuaries and music charts alike. But now, that same name is being whispered in connection with disturbing allegations that no one saw coming. As the truth unfolds, we're diving into the real story, the charges, the backlash, and the questions everyone's afraid to ask. What really happened behind the scenes, and how could someone so gifted become the center of such a heartbreaking controversy? Stay tuned, the answers may shake your faith in more ways than one. What really happened behind the scenes? And why are some standing by him while others say his secrets have finally come to light? Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the truths others won't touch. And today, we're diving into a bombshell that's sending shockwaves through the heart of gospel music. Josh Kagler, the powerful vocalist, the soul-stirring worship leader, and a cherished voice in Ricky Dillard's choir, has been arrested. Yes, the same man whose voice once lifted thousands in worship is now at the center of a criminal investigation. And the most haunting part? The silence. No statement from Ricky Dillard, no public defense, just a vacuum filled with growing whispers, swirling speculation, and now, disturbing confirmation. You're probably wondering, what happened? Was it all a tragic mistake? Or is there a side to Josh Kagler the world never saw? In this video, we're digging deep into court documents, insider testimonies, and reactions lighting up social media. The backlash is fast and furious, but so are the voices defending him. Is this a takedown of a beloved figure or the unveiling of long-hidden truths? Either way, the gospel community is shaken, and what we've uncovered might just change everything you thought you knew about fame, faith, and the fragile line between grace and judgment. We'll talk about Josh Kagler's explosive climb in the gospel industry, the shocking facts of his arrest, and the ramifications that could destroy one of the most prestigious choirs in contemporary gospel music. So have a seat, because what we're going to reveal will make you doubt everything you believe to be true. You won't believe who else could be involved, I promise. Let's begin. Josh Kagler had a very different reputation before the press and handcuffs. His ordination, he had a distinctive voice that was forceful, silky, and full of conviction. Josh was more than simply a vocalist. He was born and reared in the South. Josh began modestly, singing in the choir at his Birmingham, Alabama church. He was the voice behind some of the most stirring worship moments in contemporary gospel. People believed he had an elderly soul even as a teenager. You would expect someone twice his age to have the kind of weight in his voice. He was asked to sing during revivals by pastors. He was signed on as the featured psalmist for youth conferences. Josh Kagler's name soon began to reverberate beyond state lines. His breakthrough came when he joined the renowned gospel music powerhouse, Ricky Dillard's New G Choir. Ricky Dillard is known for developing singers who minister in addition to performing. And Josh was a fantastic fit. Audiences went crazy for his main performances. He led worship in videos that went viral. Both gospel fans and churchgoers started referring to him as a young Donnie McClurrin. However, it was more than simply the singing that won them over. Josh portrayed himself as a modest servant of God who was always well-groomed, polite, and gave Jesus the praise he deserved. Scriptures, devotionals, and behind-the-scenes photos of him traveling, praying, singing, and joking with choir members were all over his Instagram. From the outside, he appeared to be living a purposeful life. He even ventured out with Josh Kagler and Harmonistic Praise Crusade, his own band. Fans adored the unadulterated, genuine church atmosphere in their albums. Josh briefly gave the impression that he was being set up to become the next big gospel singer. Here's the twist though. Another story was developing in the background as he rose in the charts and gained popularity in the Christian community, because few people were aware of the private life that lay behind the accolades. Additionally, what was previously hidden is now being brought to light. What then took place? How did such a talented and well-respected man wind up in prison? As I will explain in the next part, the allegations are more serious than you may imagine. Before sirens blared and Josh Kagler's name showed up on an unexpected police report, it was just another peaceful evening in Jefferson County, Alabama. The gospel and religious community was rocked by Josh Kagler's booking on several criminal charges, according to official reports from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. The date July 19, 2024 was obvious. The accusations include intent to distribute, resisting arrest, and possessing a controlled narcotic. Let's dissect that. According to court filings and official records, Kagler was stopped at approximately 11:48 p.m. during a regular traffic stop, not far from Birmingham. He was driving erratically, according to the officers, and at first he would not yield when they activated their lights. Body cam footage seems to show Kagler evasive and anxious when he finally stopped. Things got out of hand at that point. A stockpile of tablets, some of which were unlabeled and thought to be drugs, was allegedly found during a check of his car. A digital scale, several cell phones, and a substantial sum of money were also present. According to the authorities, these items are frequently linked to distribution. It gets considerably messier from here. Josh attempted to clarify that the cash was tour money and the drugs were prescription medication, but the officers weren't buying it. According to people familiar with the inquiry, he struggled when they tried to cuff him, not violently, but enough that they had to call in assistance to hold him safely. Shortly after midnight, he was taken to the Jefferson County Jail and booked. Bail is set, but no release is scheduled. The kicker is that the judge originally set bail at $25,000. Kagler took some time to post bail. Why? He was placed on a mental health hold due to his unpredictable emotional behavior and anguish. According to a source with knowledge of the jail system, that action postponed his release and fueled internet speculations. By dawn, social media is exploding. Fans of gospel were taken aback. Some others thought it was a smear campaign or fake news, therefore they didn't believe it, questioning how someone who had just preached via song the week before could suddenly be sitting in a jail cell facing drug charges. Others started reposting images of the arrest record. Some expressed support, pointing to the industry pressures and spiritual warfare. One Twitter user wrote, "We really don't know these artists outside of the church lights. Lord, cover us all." Another said, "Just because you sing about God doesn't mean you're exempt from demons." Harsh, maybe, but it's clear the gospel community was divided. Others question how someone entrusted with guiding others in worship could be leading such a double life. And they were quick to criticize people's inquiries. Did someone jealous of Josh's success set him up? Did he conceal this personal fight with addiction? Or is the story incomplete? Something that hasn't yet been discovered by the public and police. Regardless of your point of view, the situation has caused a great deal of tremor in the church community, and before long, prominent gospel voices including Ricky Dillard himself were under pressure to react. In addition to being shocked by the allegations, fans were eagerly awaiting the response of renowned choir conductor and gospel star Ricky Dillard on social media when Josh Kagler's arrest was announced. Would he stand by Josh, turn away, or say nothing at all? The silence seemed terrible at first. Was it shock or planning that caused the first silence? Ricky Dillard was totally silent on all of his platforms for 48 hours following Josh's incarceration. No press releases, no Instagram stories, no tweets. Speculation began to swirl even more quickly as a result. According to several insiders, Dillard's legal team encouraged him to avoid speaking in public while the issue was pending, particularly since Josh had just finished a significant summer tour with Ricky's choir a few weeks prior. Some thought the quiet was illegal. It was intimate. An unidentified gospel community member commented, "You could tell Ricky was heartbroken. Josh was more than just a vocalist. The new G family was related to him. It was more than simply poor press. This was treachery." Discussion is sparked by the first word, a subtle post. Only 4 days following the arrest did Ricky Dillard eventually speak up. Additionally, he didn't say it in an interview or press release. Rather, he shared a mysterious Instagram story with a black backdrop and the Romans 3:23 verse. "We all fall short. Pray before you speak." Only 11 words. However, they caused a flurry on gospel Twitter. Was he standing up for Josh, reminding everyone of their humanity, or pointing out those who are spreading rumors? Comments sections were ablaze. "You're correct, Ricky. When you live in a glass house, don't toss stones." However, judgment is not accountability. He must accept the facts. And lastly, a declaration. In a 7-minute video that was a mix of confession, plea, and lecture, Ricky Dillard went live on Facebook the very following day. Here is a clearer paraphrase of what he said. "I am here today as a man who loves his colleagues like family, not as the director of the choir. Yes, I am aware of Josh Kagler's predicament. I am hurt. Yes, I do pray. Yes, indeed, I'm allowing him the room he needs to recover, confront whatever truths he needs to, and work through his path. Let's be clear, I do not condone wrongdoing, but I also do not believe in canceling someone God isn't done with." Ricky did not clarify whether Josh was kicked out of the choir or not. His tone was apparent, but he did not elaborate on their most recent communication. Not rejection, but love, suffering, and disappointment, and admirers became aware of the influence of gospel culture and grace. Hollywood is not like the gospel world, because churchgoers and fans view artists as more than just performers. Scandal strikes in this context in a different way. They regard them as leaders, ministers, and messengers. Therefore, the question that arises when someone like Josh falls from grace is not simply what happened, but rather how we respond in grace and truth. That tightrope was walked by Ricky Dillard. He wasn't trying to hide anything. It wasn't a smear. It was a compassionate call to prayer, personal development, and responsibility. It served as a reminder to fans that gospel musicians are still people, still have problems, and are constantly evolving. And that takes us straight to the next level of this problem, because another voice started to emerge while Josh remained silent. Josh once shared the stage with a former choir member who came forward with an unexpected story. A new and utterly unexpected voice emerged as the gospel community struggled with the aftermath of Josh Kagler's arrest and Ricky Dillard's cautious, gracious response. What she revealed would completely upend the story. An internal woman. Her name is spoken by the whistleblower. For now, we'll refer to her as Sister T. After years of silence, Sister T had been a part of Ricky Dillard's New G choir. She was on tour, she had performed a song, she had witnessed it all until now, and finally, she'd had enough. In a shocking TikTok live stream, viewed over 500,000 times within 48 hours, she didn't just speak about Josh Kagler, she exposed the toxic underbelly of the gospel performance world that fans never get to see. "Josh ain't the first one," she said plainly. "He's just the one that got caught." That one line lit a wildfire across social media. The video that blew up gospel TikTok in the 15-minute viral stream. Sister T made several jaw-dropping claims. Choir culture was full of secrets. There were parties after the shows, people drinking, hooking up, pretending like we weren't supposed to be leading worship 12 hours later. Josh was protected for years. He had charisma, he was talented, and that made people ignore red flags. I saw him make inappropriate comments. I saw the way he flirted with vulnerable women backstage. People laughed it off. Multiple people had allegedly raised concerns. There were whispers, quiet complaints, but nobody wanted to ruin a good tour. Nobody wanted to break the spirit, so they silenced it. Her tone wasn't bitter. It was grieved, tired, disappointed, and the video ended with this: "If the gospel world doesn't start holding its own accountable, then we are no different than the world we claim to be saving." Mic dropped. The gospel community divides. Her video caused an explosion of reactions across platforms. Supporters praised her. Finally, someone speaking truth to power. We need more Sister T's willing to risk it all for the sake of real ministry. Critics attacked her. Why now? Why not go to the church leadership privately? This feels like bitterness disguised as truth. Some questioned her motives. Others questioned the church's decades-long failure to create safe, accountable spaces for choir members and performers. But what no one could deny was this: she cracked open a door, and what spilled out was years of pain. The bigger question: how much did people know? Sister T's revelations forced everyone to reconsider. Was Josh Kagler's downfall a sudden shock, or the natural result of years of ignored behavior? Multiple anonymous insiders began sending DMs to Christian bloggers, sharing their own stories. A few recounted he had groupies at gospel fests. I heard a woman crying in a hotel hallway after one event. No one asked questions. We were told to pray it away and keep smiling on stage. It painted a disturbing picture, not just of Josh Kagler, but of a culture that sometimes prioritized image over integrity. And as this storm was swirling, Josh finally made his first move. He didn't do it on social media. He didn't do it in church. He did it in court. And the headlines that followed, unbelievable. After the whirlwind of allegations, online debates, and painful testimonies from former choir members like Sister T, all eyes turned to one final stage: the courtroom. This was no rehearsal, no pulpit, no choir robes. This time, the microphones were muffled, and the only sound was the gavel of justice. And what happened inside that courtroom left even the most seasoned spectators stunned. The courtroom was packed on the morning of the hearing. Media outlets gathered outside the courthouse. Gospel blogs, YouTubers, TikTok reporters, and even secular sites like TMZ were present. Ricky Dillard did not attend, but members of the new G Choir came quietly, sitting at the back, heads bent. Josh Kagler came with his solicitor, wearing a modest blue suit and no jewelry. His previously confident theatrical persona has crumbled into a pale, anxious shell of himself. The allegations were read out: sexual assault, invasion of privacy, coercion, and many counts of wrongdoing relating to a child. Each charge struck like thunder, and then Josh Kagler spoke, the apology that split a community. The courtroom fell into a silence as Josh was asked whether he wanted to make a statement before sentencing. He stood shaky, voice trembling. He looked toward the gallery where his former choir members sat and muttered, "I failed. I let down my brothers, my sisters, my church. And most of all, I let down God. What I did was inexcusable. No amount of talent, no number of songs or sermons can cover what I did. I hurt people and I am so sorry." Gasps echoed across the room. Some wept, some rolled their eyes, some just stared blankly. He continued, "This ain't a performance. This ain't damage control. This is me as a broken man, asking God and everyone I harmed to forgive me." The verdict: no mercy. Despite the emotional statement, the judge did not waver. She stated plainly, "Mr. Kagler, your talent does not exempt you from justice. You betrayed sacred trust. You misused your power. You now have to deal with the repercussions for manipulating your platform." The courtroom fell silent as Josh Kagler was escorted out in cuffs after being sentenced to 9 years in prison with no chance of early parole for the first 6 years. It was the last time gospel music fans saw Josh Kagler in the spotlight, not on a stage, but shackled and crying. Ricky Dillard did not defend Josh, but he did make one final statement in the days that followed. "While my heart is broken over Josh's actions, I believe in redemption and restoration. My prayers are with every victim, and I am committed to building a safer, more accountable ministry moving forward." His vision for healing, rather than demonizing him, caused the gospel industry to start holding meetings behind closed doors, ministries to reassess their leadership training, choir tours to introduce new accountability guidelines, victims to be encouraged to speak their truth without fear, and a slight shift in the gospel world. This scandal was more than just one man's downfall. It served as a wake-up call, a reminder that broken character cannot be excused by gifts, that ministry must be accountable rather than merely anointed, and that healing only occurs when the truth, even when it hurts, is spoken. To those who continue to suffer in silence, know that you are not alone and that your voice matters. Additionally, may the gospel community never defend platforms more than